the timing that the opposition submitted the petition was very close to the actual date of firstly happening. The way in which the Constitutional Court took on the petition can mean that it's not that all control by the abstract or control in abstracto can be done whenever, but it has to be close to the problem being had, and that problem should occur in the type that may cause irreparable harm. Okay, so it's close enough, it can cause some problem, it can cause some damage that we cannot return and we cannot bring back the status quo. So I think the 9-0 means that. The 5-4 means a little bit different. I think for the 5 people, so the 5 justices, they thought like this. Should they one day in the future decide that General Prayut is out, he is finishing his term yesterday, when they suspend him yesterday by the Constitution Article 82, once he is no longer in office by the decision of the Constitutional Court in the future, it will be the exact date of the suspension date that he will be no longer in office. And even there is a legal protection under the Constitution for someone who is still sitting in office while people believe that he was supposed to be out. The protection is that all his performance will be protected. It will be constitutional, it will be legal, as long as he is not yet out, okay? But now he was suspended yesterday. If one day it is so determined that he is no longer in office, since yesterday, then there's no problem. Okay, so I think the 5 was looking at this. Okay, the 4 was perhaps looking at that, well, there is a legal protection. There is a constitutional protection. So why bother to suspend him? Let the guy work because he is useful or his work can be fruitful, whatever. Okay, so the 4 was looking at that. Secondly, I think the 5 was looking at the broader interpretation of law. Because see, when we look at the broader interpretation of law, it is said that if there's doubt, okay, if there's doubt that there is a problem as petition, so there is uncertainty whether or not he is out or he is still in, there is a certainty to a certain extent because see 1/3. When we say there's 3 prongs, the 1 prong occurred yesterday. So in terms of having reasonable doubt, there is a reasonable doubt. When there is a reasonable doubt, then the court should suspend him. So the 5 look at this interpretation in a broader sense that there is reasonable doubt. The 4, no. There's nothing yet to be an uncertainty or a certainty whether or not he's out, not even 1/3. So they say we're not suspending him. Okay, lastly, I think they look at public order. The 5 look at when the law is interpreted, it's not only interpreted for the matter of the provision itself, it's not only statutory interpretation, but it has to also be covering public order interpretation. This is not political science, this is also the law. The law can be broad, can be narrow, the law can also be upheld in order to support public order or peace in the society. So I think the 5 look at this, that people are quarreling, people are demonstrating, people are doing this and that and on the road and somewhere else. The opposition is calling upon General Prayut to resign, that people think like this people think like that. It can be a chaotic situation. And it can be uprising to an extent that might be out of control. Therefore, the 5 say, okay, in order to keep public order, then we suspend General Prayut. The 4, of course, might feel that the society can absorb this problem. So fine, leave him alone. I think 2 months is too much. Okay, considering that the Constitutional Court gave General Prayut 15 days in order for him to send in whatever information that he thinks will be beneficial to him, or whatever to be useful for the court. Okay, he has 15 days. So within 15 days, I think the court now should be studying the legal matters, looking into the provision, and maybe find the intention of the constitutional drafter, the intention of the constitution itself, and find that those are the legal matters. Then once he takes the fact, okay, or the justice take the fact from General Prayut within 15 days, they have about roughly 15 days in order to sit together, make analysis, and maybe call upon other people to give them all the information. And right now, they can even call experts, or they can even call all the information within the parliamentary or within the parliamentary archive, okay, or whatever, wherever it is, it's under the jurisdiction of the Constitutional Court to call those in. So I think 15 days afterwards, especially after General Prayut will have submitted his answer or his information, I think it's enough. 2 months, I think it's a little bit too long. Especially you see the Constitutional Court suspended General Prayut. When he's suspended, it's not that there is no longer a problem to be made. You see, because if he is working as the defense minister, but by way of him working as the defense minister, especially in the cabinet, once he's sitting in the cabinet, let's say, for example, you take a very simple scenario, General Prayut sitting as the acting prime minister, say, okay, General Prayut, you were working as prime minister for long. So what do you think about this? Can you make some order, or can you help? Then whether or not General Prayut is acting as the prime minister, it seems like General Prayut is coming as another part of acting prime minister. That will be causing problem. And if General Prayut is still working as the defense minister, is he using the prime minister's car, the prime minister's office, the prime minister's facilities, so on and so forth? Will that be fine? Well, a lot of people, especially who work for his for General Prayut, said, okay, fine, but is it really fine for the people? Is it really fine, especially for those who are opposing him, right? So that's still ongoing. Statistically, people told me that all who were suspended were all ended the term. So that's a very interesting statistic. Should General Prayut one day down the road not being out of office, okay, not being out of office, it's interesting. He's going to be first, who was suspended and not being out. Interesting. Well, I think both the acting prime minister as well as the caretaker prime minister, should one day we have the caretaker, cannot dissolve the parliament. I think two important things, okay, two important actions that cannot be taken by the acting prime minister or the caretaker prime minister is dissolving the parliament and appointing new minister or switching minister. Okay, those for me is only for the real prime minister to do. And if there is a problem, or if there is a situation in which there is no prime minister, the constitution already paved the way in order to get the new prime minister. You go back to the parliament, get the new prime minister, there is always a way to get the prime minister. If you end the list of the prime minister, there is still also a way that you go get someone else outside of the list to be the prime minister. So there is a way to get the real prime minister. So these are two important issues only the actual prime minister can do. The acting or the caretaker, for me, the no. Well, I think, as I said, the Constitutional Court, 5-4, also look at public order. So should they also think in line with the Constitutional Court, the majority that suspend General Prayut? I think for all of us, not only the leaders, think about public order, think about peace. We don't want the country to be in chaotic situation. We all want peace. We all want some order to live together. We can have differences, but we don't have to fight, and we don't have to be in a different side. Okay, we can be on the same side. We can all be tied with different in ideas and all the other things, political ideologies and other. So keep public in order. I think that's good for all of us in the society together.